San Marino is a tiny country in the north of central Italy. With an area of just 61 square kilometres and around 34,000 inhabitants, it is the third smallest state in Europe, and only the Vatican and Monaco are smaller. The country is one of the 3 so-called enclaves in the world. These are countries that are completely surrounded by another country. San Marino is particularly famous for being the oldest republic in the world. But how has this mountainous state in the centre of Italy been able to maintain its independence for so long? How did the country come into being, and what is it known for today? We explore all these fascinating questions in this video. The origins of San Marino go back to a legend. According to this legend, the country was founded by a man named Marinus. Marinus was a stonemason and came to Rimini from Dalmatia, now Croatia, in the 3rd century. However, as he was a Christian and Christians were still being persecuted in the Roman Empire at the time, Marinus fled to the nearby mountain Monte Titano. There he is said to have founded a small community with other Christians, which laid the foundations for an independent state. With the end of the persecution of Christians in 311, Marinus is even said to have been ordained a deacon by the bishop and given Mount Titano as a gift. The Republic of San Marino is said to have been established with the death of Marinus in 366. In the first centuries after its foundation, the young republic's obscurity was the best protection against its enemies. Nevertheless, it was necessary to start building 3 castles as fortifications in the 10th century. Around the year 1200, San Marino was a flourishing city republic with a growing population, which is why land was bought around the mountain. At this time, there were already codes of law that even regulated waste disposal, which was not the case in the rest of Europe. In the 13th century, the conflict between the emperor and the pope was of great importance in many Italian cities. Their supporters often fought each other, divided into the Ghibellines, who were loyal to the emperor, and the Guelphs, who were in favour of the pope. This was also the case in San Marino, where the Ghibellines made up the majority of the population and eventually banished the Guelphs. This led to the Pope banishing the San Marinese from the church on several occasions, and to several attempts at conquest by opponents loyal to the Pope, such as the Malatesta family, Bishop of Montefeltro, and son of a Pope, Cesare Borgia, over the next 2 centuries. However, San Marino held out, and even managed to expand its territory. In 1600, San Marino was given a constitution that provided for a parliamentary government and is still the oldest validly written constitution in the world today. When Napoleon invaded Italy in 1796, the San Marinese directly concluded trade agreements to express their solidarity with Napoleon. In the Treaty of Tolentino of 1797, San Marino secured the recognition of its independence by France by promising to stay out of conflicts. Napoleon admired San Marino's centuries of independence so much that he even offered to expand its territory. However, the San Marinese deliberately refused in order to avoid future conflicts. After the end of the Napoleonic Wars, it was decided at the Congress of Vienna that the old conditions in Italy should be restored, and so San Marino remained independent. Even when the Kingdom of Italy came into being in 1861, San Marino remained unaffected and independent, because treaties were concluded with Italy as early as 1862, establishing both countries as equals. After that, the country was only briefly occupied by the British once more during the Second World War in September 1944. This was due to renewed fighting between German and Allied troops over the territory. However, the British left San Marino in November. Today, San Marino is a member of several international organisations such as the United Nations, the Council of Europe, and the WHO. Every year, numerous tourists come to discover the picturesque streets, the impressive fortress, and the rich history of the oldest republic in the world. San Marino also has a thriving economy based on banking, trade, and tourism. In terms of nominal GDP per capita, San Marino is one of the richest countries in the world, has no national debt, and one of the lowest unemployment rates in the world. The question of why San Marino is still independent today is therefore easy to answer. It is a combination of diplomacy, history, and smart politics. By always presenting itself as neutral and non-threatening to its neighbours, it has been able to survive in a turbulent region. At the same time, its close relations with the major powers help to maintain the status quo. That's all for today. Have you ever been to San Marino, or are you planning a trip there? Let me know in the comments. If you want to learn more about Japan's proposal to form an Asian NATO, I can recommend my video about it. Have fun watching it, and see you next time. Ciao!